Yeah. So, like I said earlier, my name is Faustina Anyanwu, and I'm the co-founder of Divas of Color. Um, Divas of Color was created in 2014. In 2014, with the aim of creating a platform for women, especially women of color in this part of the world who don't have enough platform that, that flatter them, that tell them who they are, that show them the positive things that they can aspire to. So that is what Divas of Color has, was established for. And since that time, we have been having different kinds of events, empowerment, business, social events, and also raising awareness on different forms of social issues, including depression, domestic violence. We've also had a year that we dedicated to the girl child, where we say protect the girl child, talking about rape and abuse of um, young girls. So Divas of Color is a full package. We are not a charity, we are a full business, but we have a social side of the business, which is here that so from time to time, we offer different free access to resources so that people at every level can access all these resources. So that's about it. And for today, oh my God, what's happening? So for today, we are here to, empower our young girls. This is the first of its kind that we are doing. This was initiated because of the COVID-19. We decided that, within this time of pandemic and lockdowns and everything, every part of the world, children, young girls are being impacted. It's affecting them, both their education and all that. So this will be an avenue for both the parents and young people to gain some encouragement and help from professionals that we have here today. So welcome everyone. If you're here, feel free. If you have any question, please do ask your questions at when you have them. So excuse me, I'm trying to connect this to YouTube so that it's live on YouTube as well. So just give me 1 second to do that. Can you, okay. So um, I'll be introducing our speakers now. We have on our panel, we have Rashida Benama. I hope I get the name right. Rashida Benama is a publisher and she's also a mentor at Princess Diana Awards, and also she's a career coach. And um, today she'll be sharing her stories on her career path. I think you're also a lawyer, I think. Yeah, you have time to say a lot more about yourself, but that's what you need to know now about Rashida Benama. And then we have Stephanie. Stephanie is a creative producer and director's assistant to Lenny Ward. Am I right? Just give me a nod. Yep. And then I have Lynn Armstrong. Lynn is a graphic designer and also a speaker. She's been producing and illustrating books for both companies, and she also has her own brand as well. So today you will hear a lot more um, from all the speakers. And then we have a surprise guest today who is Emeka Anyanwu, the publisher of C-Hub magazine, and who is also the co-founder of Divas of Color. So they say we are two heads, two good heads joined together. You have all the best. So from the attendees, if you have any question, um, okay, Margaret says, can you be a little louder? All right. Well, Margaret, why not check your volume of your device and raise it up a little bit? It should be, might be from your end. Um, so far, we are having our guests, attendees signing on and coming in. So thank you, everyone. And I will start with you, Lenny Armstrong. I'm gonna mute you now to, give you the platform to speak.
Hello, hi. So hi, as I said, I'm Leanne, and I'm a graphic designer and illustrator. So I started off like way back in school. I wanted to be actually a maths teacher, so I loved maths, and I was really quite into my academic side. But I've always loved being creative, whether that's through dance or writing poetry, and fine art. And then I went into graphic design actually through a foundation diploma, and that kind of sparked my interest in graphic design. But at the time, I didn't necessarily have graphic or computer-based design skills. So all my skills were based around fine art, using paint and pencils, and quite hands-on. So I felt a little bit overwhelmed when I first did my diploma in graphic design. So I actually did a degree in dance and media culture, so it's quite different. But I managed to find my way back into graphic design through the media side of my degree. And I think that was at the point where I knew that I wanted to be a graphic designer, and I wanted to work in advertising as well. But I thought, what do I do now? I don't have the degree in graphic design, and I don't have what I thought employers would be looking for. So at that point, I kind of decided to take my own career into my own hands, and I kind of decided to design things for friends and family. Any opportunity to design flyers or logos and things like that, just to build my knowledge and get used to using the programs that I wasn't necessarily familiar with. Fast forward a few months after graduating, I just decided to send off my CV to lots of different agencies, and fortunately one of them saw the potential in what I was creating and offered me a full-time position as an art worker. And so from there, I kind of learned a lot on the job. I think they managed to see like the potential in my design work, even though I had pretty small amount of experience. And yeah, they taught me through how to use the different programs. And from there, that was about 7 or 8 years ago. And I'm now a senior graphic designer with my own business, creating greeting cards and gifts with my own illustrations on there. And yeah, as you said, I do children's books as well. So a lot of it was learning on the job, and I really enjoy being able to create different figures and different environments just from my imagination. And it's kind of, yeah, it's been a bit of a journey, but I love it, and definitely glad that I took this route rather than the maths teacher and accountant route. I think this is what's passionate within, really.
Thank you, Lynn. What the subject that what you studied in school, is it what you are practicing now?
So it's got some elements. So back in school, I actually did in college, I did my A-levels in maths, English, media studies, and art. So it does have some elements like the art side of things and the media side of things as well. So in the media side, I would learn about the theories behind graphic design and the concepts, and how to be quite analytical about the media, and how to use images and write text and copy, how to persuade people and things like that. So it does touch into my graphic design work as well. So there are some overlaps, but obviously I kind of found my way over the course of maybe about 3-4 years into graphic design.
Can you touch a little bit on how, what made you to decide to study the courses that you did and for you to focus on graphic design?
I think because I've always been quite a creative person, I felt as though I needed some kind of official qualification to progress my career, which turned out to be partly true. I think the media the fact that I did a media degree and the foundation diploma in graphic design really helped. But I think a lot of employers are actually looking for your creativity and the way you think. And the rest of the things, like the technical side of things, they can teach you. But as long as you have the mind and the tenacity and the ideas and the idea that you want to go somewhere as well, that's really important. So I think having as much as experience as you can in a range of different things that help you to think creatively, that's really important.
Okay. There's a question for you from the attendee. It says, what are some of the challenges you encountered in fulfilling your aspirations?
I'd say the biggest challenge for me was learning the programs. So things like Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, those are quite technical and they're quite expensive as well. So at the beginning of my career or the beginning of my degree, I didn't have those programs myself. So it was a lot of asking people and using as much time at uni as I could. So it wasn't until probably 2 years into my career that I actually had my own programs. So I think I definitely recommend that would be something that you can invest in. It's something that will always be changing and evolving. So I think if you can invest in it as soon as possible, that's definitely a challenge that you could overcome that I faced.
What personal attributes have helped you to be able to focus and channel towards what you want?
I'd say I think I'm quite resourceful. So even, like I said, even though I didn't have those programs, I would find ways around it, find things that I could use instead. And I think just in general, being a graphic designer, being resourceful with the things that you're supplied with from clients, sometimes they don't necessarily give you the high quality images that you want to use, or their wording's kind of not as good as it could be. So it's ways of thinking around outside of the box, using what you have and making the most of it. I think that's one of my biggest assets, I think.
Now, okay, while in school, in the uni, did you ever thought that you would be on your own, like run your own business?
No, definitely not at the time. I didn't think that at all. I always thought I would work for a big advertising or magazine company. I had visions of being in a boardroom and there being loads of people around and pitching my ideas to them for them to then sell it onto like big clients. So having my own business now is a dream come true, but something that I've never really imagined, and it's going really well. It's kind of grown for the past 3 years that I've been doing it more seriously. It's definitely grown. I'm quite proud of myself.
Thank you, Lynn. We'll be coming back to you. For now, I will keep you on hold, and let's hear from Rashida. Hi, Rashida.
I'm going to try not to talk so much, otherwise you're here until tomorrow. I talk a lot.
We're all here for it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, Faustina.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and your career, what you do, and all of that. How you got into it.
So I really enjoyed listening to Leanne because it's exactly basically what kind of happened to me. A career, I really want you to realize, all of you here attending today, that is not linear. If you go into the thinking that you're going to do this and then you're going to do B, you're going to go to uni, and then you are going to fail in that mindset. It's not linear. So I'm French, my dad is Arabic, and so I was living in France, I was studying, and I'm from a very strict background where we don't even know any job title that has more than two names in the, so it's either an accountant, a lawyer, or a doctor. And if you want to do anything else, my Arabic dad will be crying and big drama. So the thing is, I was not even in the luxury position to think, oh, I could be maybe I could do a graphic design, or I could be an actress, or I could be a TV presenter. That's not even in the family settings. So I studied law, So in France is very, in France, you're actually very lucky in this country, because when you study a topic, you can actually work in many fields. In France, if you study law, you're a lawyer. If you study English or French literature, you're a teacher. So I studied law in France for 2 years, and then I said, that's it, enough. I'm going to London. So when I came to London, I couldn't even speak English. I couldn't even say where is the tube station. I was literally by myself in London. My Arabic dad almost died of a heart attack when I said I was going to London to move there. It was like, I'm not gonna help you, hoping that I'll come back. But within few days, I found a job in hospitality. So I worked as a waitress in central London, Covent Garden. So little by little, I was improving my English, I was saving money. And before I knew it, I studied law in London. So yes, I know, right? I couldn't even say a word in English. I ended up doing my LLB and then my LLM. And that's been the best thing that ever happened to me. So, you have a lot of debate about whether a degree is useful or not. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but in this day and age, with so much discrimination on the color of your skin, your name, if you're Arabic, if you're Black, a degree is the bare minimum to fight to go out there. I'm very passionate about this, because we don't want to give them tools to tell us, oh, you're not qualified for this. If you come with all the qualification and you persevere, you go out there and you can fight. It's exceptionally important that you realize that if you have the opportunity to go to university, I'm huge passionate about that. And I took a student loan, so I'm £29,000 in debt, but it's the best investment ever. And for my master, at the time, they didn't give a loan. So literally, all my years, I worked 7 years probably in hospitality whilst I was studying. I saved all the money, and my mom topped up a little bit of my master, and she said, don't tell your dad. So behind the scene, I managed to do my master. Then I realized very early on that I needed to do internship so I can have a taste of what it felt like to be a lawyer, because you can learn a lot of theory, you can read a lot of books, but you will never, ever, ever feel what a job is like until you do an internship, even if it's just 3 days shadowing someone. So I was very, a go-getter. So I was begging people to let me in for 2-3 days. I shadowed so many lawyers in the city. So I went there, and whilst I was doing this mini work experience, I realized in my gut instinct that, oh my God, this is the driest path ever. Like, it's not like they try to change you. So I'm very bubbly, I'm very loud. Half of them couldn't even pronounce my name. And I was like, oh my God, what am I doing here? So, but social pressure is very strong. So when I finished my LLB, the first thing I did, I worked at top law firm. I was quite good at it, so it's even worse. When you're good at something you don't really like, you stay longer. And then at some point I said, that's it. I don't want to do anything like that. I'm entrepreneurial. I'm going to start my business. So moved to Melbourne, Australia on a holiday visa. And then I founded Rama Publishing. So when I told my friends that I'm going to do this, they thought I was crazy. But you see, don't listen to people. If you have a plan on how you're going to achieve it, you are going to be so surprised of what you can achieve. I had no contact, no network. I have no English friend. I find it very weird, actually, when you're a French person and study in England, nobody hang out with you like the British. They don't mix with you. We were like the French, Greek, Italian in the LLM, and then the British on the other side. And sometimes we would be invited to some parties, but I didn't have any network. So when I launched Rama Publishing, I was hustling. I was on LinkedIn every day. I was DMing people, sending messages. And then little by little, our first product was launched, and then Anthropology on Regent Street ordered it. And then little by little, when you get a store, then other stores. And then for the last 3 years, been a very good ride. And it's very important that you realize from my story that your career is not going to be linear, but what's going to save you is work experience. Nobody's going to hand it to you. In fact, I'm an enterprise advisor at Earthweek School. Have you heard of it? In Hackney. So I'm there once a week. It's heartbreaking. They do not have any budget for career services for students. So you have nothing to help you. So you have to help yourself. I'm fighting every day with, the senior leadership team, because they can't even afford to buy 5 books that could help students. So what I'm trying to say, you have to rely on yourself. Go on LinkedIn, if you're like 13, maybe you don't have social media, but if you're 15, you need to be very careful with your social media. When I was working as a lawyer with law firm, when they recruit people, they check their Twitter account since 2008. 2009. So when you're 13, 14, you think, oh, it's okay if I send a stupid tweet or I say something stupid. That will backfire 10, 15 years later. They do check those things. So if you have a social media, use it for your career. If, for example, you're interested in a career in law, actually, I hope I didn't put you off. It's actually very good. It just didn't match my personality. But I really loved studying law. That's why I did a master. So if, for example, you're interested in a career in law, why don't you start posting interesting posts about cases or give tips on how to study for exam, and before you know it, you get law firm interested in you. In fact, I have 2 girls that I mentored. They got a training contract at Clifford Chance because of their legal blog. Like literally, they told them, wow, we're very impressed with your vlogs. Would you be interested? They literally created a position for them. So I'm telling you, everything you do could be towards your career without even you knowing. So if you enjoy blogging, why don't you blog? If you want to be a writer for a magazine, the first thing they will ask you is a proof of your writing. So you need to publish your blog post. So if you're embarrassed, come up with a fake name. You know, you can have in French we say nom de plume. How do you say in English? I don't know, but you have, you know, like a fake name that writer use to.
Your pen name.
Yeah, okay, so that's the one. So you can, you understand what I'm saying is crafting experiment. I prepared a book for you, maybe Faustina later can recommend. It's called Working Identity, Crafting Experiment. In this book, she's saying, don't waste your time overthinking your career path. You have to start doing things like internship. If you can't afford internship, because let's face it, it's the most expensive city in the world. I didn't have money to do internship 10, 15 years ago. I was working in restaurant, but what I could do was begging people if I could follow them around in the office for 2-3 days. They were so shocked that I approached them that I never had a negative answer. I've done 100 shadowing. I shadowed even my professor in court. I was with my notebook, writing notes, everything. And then even if I didn't feel, and even if I didn't continue in the law field, when I started my business, Rama Publishing, one of our products is a notebook for law students. So all the people that shadowed helped me to open so many doors. They're like, hey, Rashida, how are you doing? Oh, I remember when you came to my firm. Oh, yeah. So they opened me so many doors. I sold a lot of notebooks.
I'll stop. Let me hold you on now. Tell me, some people might not understand what you mean by shadowing somebody. Can you explain that a little bit? You know,
yeah, so you have internship.
How do you make the contact? How do you, you know, how often do you do that, and how does it work that people can understand it?
That's a very good question. So internship, it's almost impossible to do internship because some firm or some agency, it depends on the field, they'll ask you to work for free for 3 months. Nobody can afford that. So I knew that very quickly that I couldn't afford to stay 3 months without a salary. So I said, oh, I can actually ask people to follow them, and I actually realized that the word exists. It's like shadowing someone. So by then there was no LinkedIn. So I didn't even know about LinkedIn. So I'm in London for 14 years. And then I basically Googled some law firm and picked some names. You know, every law firm have details. So I directly emailed and called. Like, people are terrified to call, but you do not get anything via email. I harassed them over the phone until they thought, oh, the crazy French called again. And then they said, okay, come. One law firm, I've emailed them 8 times. 8 times I was rejected. And on the 9th attempt, I got a full-time job for a year.
Wow, that's amazing. You know,
like 8 times rejection, 9th time the president got the email. There's like, who is this girl emailing all the time? They actually told me, sorry, Rashida, your experiences are not on par with our team, because they all came from Oxford and Cambridge. I said, well, UCL is not good enough. And then I got the interview.
Now, thank you so much. You have an amazing story, and you have the push, you have the drive and the energy. Not everybody has the personality that you have.
Yes.
What of people who don't have that energy, who don't have that drive, and who probably feel a little bit shy and stuff to do that? What can they do? How can they do? How
That's
can
a
they?
very good point, Faustina, and I don't think you will believe me, but I'm 34, and when I was 19, you would talk to me, I became red like my lipstick. I was the shyest person you will ever meet in your life. I come from a very Arabic background. The girl doesn't talk very loud. My dad is very strict, like you don't get out of your way. The short is too short. You know what I mean? So I was extremely shy. So when I came to London, I got fired from my first hospital job, and that's a true story because I was too scared to go and ask for the order. So I was too embarrassed and too shy. So what am I trying to say? You, shy or no shy, by the more you do it, the less you feel scared. So when I realized that this was not serving me, they would steal my deposit when I was renting a house. I wouldn't get any opportunity. I lost a job that was paying my rent because I was shy. So at some point, you need to force yourself to get out of your comfort zone. You don't have to go straight for the phone call, but maybe an email. Ask someone to help you. I don't believe in being shy forever. At some point, you need to force yourself to get out of the way to do things. Otherwise, I think the world is not built for being shy and withdrawn and not asking, because nobody's going to give you the job. You need to go out there. You need to face rejection. You need to face failure. You need to be very comfortable with having people telling you no. For example, if you ask someone if you can shadow them, let's say you email me and say, Rashida, I've seen you today in the talk. I would love to do an internship. If I tell you no, it doesn't mean because you're not good enough, or I don't like your face, or I don't like you. It's probably I don't have the capacity to have an intern at this moment. So you should never take it, you know, personally, and go out there, email. Now you have LinkedIn. During my time, there is no LinkedIn. No, I didn't know Instagram. I don't know if you knew Instagram 14 years ago. Instagram, no, nothing. Facebook, 2006, I got my first. 2007, I have my Facebook. So now the world is yours. You can go on LinkedIn, send a very nice email, and ask, "Hi, I'm really interested in becoming a journalist. Would that be possible to visit the offices? And in exchange, I would do this and that." I would, or if you want to be mentored, you need to make it easy for them to say yes. You need to say exactly what you expect from the session with that person. Offer them the coffee. Say, I will pay the coffee on me, and then make it easy for them to say yes. I honestly mentor a lot of girls, and when I told them that, they looked at me, okay, she's crazy. And then one of my girl got an internship at The Economist by doing exactly what I said. She emailed a guy on LinkedIn. He invited her for coffee. They chat, and he gave her an internship. People want to help. This is the beauty of life. Like, we think that it's hard, but actually people in position to help, unless you're a complete sociopath, you want to help others. Like,
Yeah.
if you have the opportunity to help, and especially now with what's going on, people realize you can't go on forever with your personal possession and material things. At the end, when we die, we don't bring it with us. So people feel they want to help. So if you make it easy for them to say yes, they will help you. Believe me, what will help you in your career is asking people to mentor you, because you're not, I can't assume where you went to school, but unless you went to a private school that you pay one arm a year, you will not have the support. I know, because I work with schools behind the scenes. They have no budget to help you, so you have to be proactive.
Thank you so much, Rashida. We'll be coming back to you, again. Let's hear from Stephanie. 1 second. Yeah. So Stephanie, tell us what you do and how you got into it.
Hey everyone, thank you Leanne and Rashida for sharing your stories. So I was into sports in school. That's all I wanted to do, was play sports. I had no idea of what I was going to do outside of that. obviously I come from an African household, so there's no career in sports. Education is the key. So I had to go to college and I had to go to university. There was no ifs or buts without it. So how I kind of got around figuring out what I was going to do professionally was a lot of research. There were a lot of like workshop days, a lot of youth organizations, similar to this one, a lot of panel talks. I just, like Rashida spoke about, you kind of just have to put yourself out there to get what you want, really. And what I was looking for was more information about the industries available to me. So I studied psychology, PE, and moving image arts at college, and I ended up studying public relations at university. So the way I rationalized doing that degree was, okay, I have a creative side. So in moving image arts, it was all about film and video editing and things like that, using software. But my parents were so heavy on becoming like a business person, so I saw public relations as a merge of the two, where you are able to be creative in a corporate space. So I decided to study that as a degree. And also in my decision to study a degree, I chose to study a placement degree. So a placement degree is where you study for 2 years, you then work for a year, and then you finish your final year. So you do 4 years of university. And I found the importance of that degree because I knew that in the creative industries, you had to have experience. And I didn't want to be a part of the group of people who studied a degree and were working in retail for 5 years after until they found their career job. So I made sure I had the opportunity to get some hands-on experience within a workplace. I actually ended up abroad because the university offered a program called Erasmus, where they gave you more money to work abroad. And you also had a kind of a counselor who came out there twice a year to check up on you. So I would also say really use the resources that are available to you, especially when you're in education, because when you leave education, you're going to be in the big bad world alone. And so I ended up working for Adidas in their digital marketing department. And I kind of, the way I saw it was that I love sport and I love creativity. So Adidas was like a great place to explore those things. I did that for a year. It was the best year of my life. And one thing I would say is I kept in contact with all the people that I met during that internship, because not only was I in another country, I was working for a very international brand. I was working with people from all over the world. It was an amazing opportunity because it was such a big brand, people from different realms of life, different educational backgrounds, people with different professional backgrounds, people in different areas of work. So PR, marketing, digital world, sports marketing, fashion, all of that stuff. Sorry, that's the ice cream man. So I made sure I added, like Rashida said, I made sure I added everyone on LinkedIn. Everyone you meet, you would have days where you have shoot days or meetings with other agencies. Everyone you meet, you have to kind of make contact with so they kind of remember you, so you're not forgettable. So if at any moment in your life you may meet them again, oh hey, I met you while I was working at Adidas in 2016. Oh yeah, and that's how you then reconnect. So it's important to make sure you stay in contact with people and build your network, because I think especially in the creative industry, your network is super important. At any point in your life, the people that you've met professionally or even in your social life, anyone could put you in a professional place that you didn't imagine. So I would just say, like, be nice, stay in contact with people. So yeah, I finished my final year at uni, I left uni, and actually I worked for two guys that I met during my internship at Adidas. They started their own creative production company. So I asked them if I could be their intern. Again, going back to what Rashida said, I emailed, I probably cold called, because I really, really wanted to work for them, because I knew what they were doing was super, super cool. Because I was into film, I was into sports, and it kind of merged everything together. But actually, this is where my story becomes a bit sinister, because from that moment, after working there for a year, I decided to leave the kind of corporate setting altogether, and I went freelance, because I kind of got frustrated with the lack of representation. My voice wasn't being heard. Actually, Margaret spoke about this in the Q&A. I was forced into certain positions because of my gender. Because I was the intern and I was a female, I was forced into more organizational kind of admin roles, and I wanted to do the video editing, I wanted to do, the directing. These were the stuff that I was interested in, but these are male dominated areas of business within advertising and production. So I left the company, and I took all my skills and I decided to go freelance. And when I went freelance, I let the world know what I was doing, and what experience I had. I had a LinkedIn page. I put all my work on my social media so people could see. That's another good point, is if you're creating as a creative, you're creating your own, like Rashida said, your own blog posts. Like Leanne, she helped her friends. You post all of that, make it known of what activities you're doing, so people see that as a reference to when they might need you in the future. So I did that, and then I landed my first freelance job. And it's so funny because it was for Nike and Foot Locker, and I was kind of thrown in the deep end. I was kind of the producer for the whole shoot. We shot in Milan for a week. I lived in Amsterdam for a month doing post-production. I remember being in Milan, and I shared a hotel with the client. I cried every night to my mum because I was so stressed out. It was a lot, but I think I learned so much about the role of a producer. I had to find talent. I had to manage a crew of camera people. I had to make sure we were going to the right locations. We were catching our flights on time. It was a lot. I just came out of this internship and it was a lot, but I learned so much. So again, don't underestimate what you can do. I don't think fear is a bad thing. You could produce a lot of good work out of fear. Just don't let it overtake you or control your emotions. And from then I just led a freelance career. It's not easy, especially if you have rent to pay. You're, and what I mean by freelance is that you're working like by contract and project basis. You haven't got a regular stable income. You might get 3 jobs in a month, or you might get 0 jobs in a month. It's not predictable. But I guess I kind of stuck through it, and I just had faith. And then now I'm in a position where I'm a director's assistant. Her name's Leon Ward. She directs music videos, commercials, advertising videos, and there's a lot of money in that business. So I'm okay financially now. I also founded my own organization that supports young Black women in schools. I also DJ because I love music. Again, if there's a passion there, there's money to be made. You just have to look out for the opportunities and create networks that are within those industries. Yeah, that's about it. Did I miss anything?
Even if you missed anything, that's wonderful. Even if you missed anything, when we are doing general questions that I'll be throwing for everybody, anyone that wants to answer that question, then you can still say most of the things that you've said. Just for a recap, some of the things that has been said for the benefit of our attendees, whether you're a mom, a dad, or a teenager yourself. So these information are very important, um, especially for immigrant parents in the abroad, in the UK, in the Western world. If you are a parent from, let's say, Africa, Arab, Asia, anywhere, and you live in the Western world, it's very important that you get these details, because most of our children, and get it wrong because our parents are not conversant with what is happening or what to do. They don't know what to do. For example, my first daughter, when she was I wasn't sure how she would go to secondary school. I didn't know what to do. And the people I asked, they weren't giving me any, answer that was, they were telling me the school will tell you, the school will tell you. Then I began to research, I began to go beyond people around me. I started asking on internet and, approaching different people. People have seen that their children are already in school and uni and all of that. And then I discovered that, okay, she has to take, if I want her to go to grammar school, she has to take the 11 plus exam. And it was already almost too late for her to take the exam. And then I also found out that the schools she was going to go to were just the schools around here. And when I did my research, the schools around here are not schools I want her to be. I started researching, I started asking until I found the good school where my children go to now. So it's important that we always look for these opportunities. We tap into things that are available. Sometimes people focus on what is not available, forgetting that we have a lot of resources out there that you can, get from. So from what you all have said, some of the things I got there is build your network, build a meaningful network. When you say you have friends, what are those friends for? You can't just continue to keep the same circle of people who have the same ignorance as you. All of us have an aspect of ignorance on certain things. So if there are things that you don't know, find people who know it so that they can direct you, they can give you information. If there are things that you know that you can share, also find people who need it so that you can become relevant to those people as well. And then she says, keep contact. Now, this one is very important. So sometimes people, when you meet people, try to be nice. Like Stephanie said, try to be nice so that when they see you next time, they want to talk to you. Try to, I see a lot of young people come on social media and they talk just anyhow. They come under people's posts and they start cussing out and start, being ridiculous. Everybody on social media are not your mates. Even if they are your mates, whatever you post on social media, especially Twitter, the whole world are going to be seeing it. And even if you delete it, sometimes the archive, the Twitter archive can still store it and people can search on Google and find it. So it's important that you are mindful of some of what you do online, especially when it has to do with people. When you're connecting with other people, you have to be very careful and make sure that you keep the contact with people. And yeah, and then you also said see possibilities in everything. And then I got also attend events. That is networking events, like this kind of events now. Um, you know, whether it's free, you can go to the free ones. You can also invest a little bit. You can invest a little bit. That money you want to go to McDonald's with, start big. You can start now to start thinking about your future. Is it okay for you to have a McDonald's every weekend, but then in the next 5, 10 years you are still unemployed, or you don't know where to start, or you are not able to afford to go to school or train for the things you want to do? You can become money smart right now from 13 years, 12 years, 10 years. You can become money smart. You can even begin now to have your businesses. You guys have heard about Jojo Bo and all those, kids that have their own businesses. Sometimes these are monies that they save from, the pocket money that parents gave them, relatives and all that. So, you can begin now to chart your own path. Um, there are questions that I'll be asking. I'm going to keep it for when we open the panel for questions and answer. But before that, I want to bring in our surprise guest today, Emeka Anyanwu, who is also the director and co-founder of Divas of Color. So he's going to give us a 5-minute keynote on, he's a motivational and inspirational speaker. So let's hear from Emeka Anyanwu. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. It's my pleasure, and thank you for staying up for making it possible.
It's muted.
Can everybody hear Emeka? No, they're not hearing you. Okay, 1 second. Your audio is not, can't hear, I can't hear, no, I can't hear anything. Okay, they can't hear you. Where is it now? Okay, try to speak again, let's see.
Hello? Hello? Hearing me now?
Can you hear him now? Can you hear him now? Just give me a thumbs up if you can. What's going on? Can you hear him now? Can you hear Emeka now? Hello? Hello?
Mine says that it's connecting to audio, but I can't hear anything at the moment.
Well, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay. Maybe I have to move you to this place. I'll move you here. 1 second, he's coming to speak now. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry for the glitch. Like I said, I have 3 daughters. Then the advice I normally give them is that the secret of life is about, being confident, having confidence. But then the question is, how do you develop confidence? Especially in the world whereby, it's tend to favor men. So giving advice to the 3 daughters, I said, look, you got to have confidence, because without confidence, you can't do anything. And then how do you develop confidence? First and foremost, you got to tap into what you already have. You got to find out what your strength is. Then you got to find out your talent and your passion. Unfortunately, a lot of teenagers, they cause a life. And before you know it, they become a casualty. So if you don't pay attention to, get yourself, on good footing, it becomes very, very difficult. Now, having confidence entails, you see, doing the best for yourself. Now, the social expectation is too much. The influence of the peer group, you know, I see a lot of people, they go into the field or into a career path that is not, you know, that by that they're going to a career path that means they are living other people's dream, or they're trying to keep up with their peer group, or because of social expectation. So I advise them to look, try and identify what you love doing. Through knowing what you love doing, you can now develop your talent and develop your passion and develop your strength. Because once you have these three factors, you're gonna have confidence. And once you have confidence, then it's easy to, you know, impact the world. It is easy to influence the world. So because there is simple, you know, there is simple or nothing one cannot do. What a man does, a woman can do it. And if you remember, when after God created the female, the male, he created the female. What it means there is that God is saying that I can do better. So that means female is an improved, you know, version of the male. So the ladies, I advise them to look, you got to have confidence, because because you are properly equipped in this life. You've had enough. Your own personal experience, they are enough for you to, you know, to start off. And that's, you know, goes around what I call first principle. Like today, I was doing a video. I was so excited. I said, look, I'm excited. What I heard from my daughter, my first daughter, Chelsea, what she told me was, look, Daddy, you are fired up. So immediately she said fired up. I understood that she is in line, that she has sharpened her edges. And I was there and there, I was so confident. And I was so happy that she was learning what I was teaching her. So life is all about confidence. So get out there, you know, don't be afraid, you know, don't fear for the worst, you know, be driven for the best. And with this kind of mindset, there's nothing you can't do. You can even do better than men. So that is all about life. So that is the message I always, you know, the advice I always give to the teenage girls. Look, you got to be there. You got to have confidence. Try and develop your strength. Try and develop your passion. Because if you don't have a proper, you know, if your career is not built on your passion and on your talent and strength, difficult time will come. So what are you gonna fall back on? Because I told them, so look, I studied chemical engineering. That was the social expectation. But when I came to London, I said, look, I got to fall back on my strength. That was how Faustina and I started the C-Hub magazine and other events we've been doing. So because you're gonna face challenge, and once you face that challenge, if you are not, you know, properly built, if you don't have the foundation, what I call the first principle, it's gonna be very difficult for you to thrive, because, you know, things will always change. You need to adapt. There must be a change. Change is constant. So when that change comes, what are you gonna do? You got to rely on your strength. That's why the first thing is the foundation. The foundation means being able to tap into your talent, being able to tap into your strength, being able to tap into your passion, because nobody can take it away from you. If you're good, you're good. That racism doesn't count in this situation. So my advice to the teenage girls is that you got to develop confidence, because with confidence, you can solve all your problems. You can lead a happy career life. You can engage in a lot of things and be successful in life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emeka Anyanwu. I'm sorry about the glitch that we had there. The internet was not connecting properly, but I hope that everybody were able to hear him very well. So now I'll be opening the panel so that we can be answering some of the questions. One of the first questions somebody sent in um, before today was, he says, how can how can we make the youth of now, the youngsters of now, to behave more rationally? Although that is away from the topic of the day, but is there a, do you want to take on it, Rashida?
Hello, can you hear me? So the question is how to make the youth more rational. Is that the question?
Yeah.
So you see, I have a completely different point of view. I think the young people are extremely rational. In fact, they are so clever and so smart because when I am mentoring them at the Diana Award, I've seen kids 13, 14 years old coming from war country, like really as a refugee, and then coming to England and starting charities, selling cakes in their school and helping their community. So for me, it's very hard to see young people are the troublemakers. They're troublemakers because they're bored. We're closing the youth center, right, left, and center. And then, so I think we don't give them enough credit because I would as well be irrational. I'm quite irrational anyway, but like irrational if I didn't have where to go. Or if I didn't have activity, it's proven. Then when you give them something that a purpose, even if it's just like, okay, today you're going to learn how to do coding, maybe coding if you like a computer. So I think if your kid is causing you trouble, because I'm guessing is a parent to ask that, then you have to keep them busy. You have to ask them what do you like, and then try to nurture this passion. So I don't think, even though at the beginning when I start saying it's important to go to uni, but what if you have someone who is amazing at drawing and wants to be a stylist and doesn't want to go to a university but want to do an apprenticeship? This is the job of a parent, to not put their dream onto their kids and nurture the talent, and you will see how rational the kid will become. I think when kids become irrational is because they don't feel heard. I think we try to make a movie about what they think, but most of them are quite more clever than adults sometimes.
Faustina, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you, Stephanie, on you said quite a lot on building network and keeping contact and stuff like that. What about parents and young people who have issues with safety? How do you handle the safety, security part of it? When you go to meet people, how do you safeguard yourself?
I think that's a very good question. Is a good question, and it's loaded at the same time. So I was part of a youth organization called Bigger Fish, and they basically help young people make money from promoting music events. So when I say young people, as young as 12 years old, so you were able to make money from selling tickets to other young people for under 18 events. And obviously my parents were very cautious of this, and we had meetings after school in Shoreditch, which is now a very heavily crowded place with a lot of parties and alcohol and stuff like that. So safety was a big issue. However, I think that as parents, we have to trust our children, trust them with what we taught them, and they will be able to discern whether they're in safe or non-safe environments. But it is a very valid question, because especially as a woman, I have been in a couple of situations where I felt, in terms of networking, men are they disguise themselves with this kind of business meeting with something else that's not of me or not what I'm interested in. So, but you do have to be very cautious. And like, as women, like, I'm a spiritual person, like, go with your gut, go with your feeling. If a meeting of a person doesn't feel right, then follow that. Then don't. I've had, well, I say a couple, but I've had many situations. I've given out my number on LinkedIn, and it turned out to be a weirdo, and I've had to block a couple of numbers after that. It's, especially for women, it's not easy to navigate. But yeah, just instilling those values and educating your children so they'll be able to discern those situations better. Oh, I can't hear you. You're on mute.
Yes, thank you, Steph, for that. I'll add some things to that. And Leanne, we have there's a question for you. I will be reading that out to you shortly. Um, to add to what Steph said, I will also tell parents and teenagers, you need to establish a good relationship through constant and clear communication. If you don't have if you haven't built the trust and bonding with your adults, your parents, or whoever takes care of you as a teenager, as a young person, then it becomes difficult for you to get help, especially to get help when you are in danger or when there is an issue. For example, Stephanie had just said about people she gave her phone number and they turned out to be weirdos and stuff like that. So it's important that you make yourself, for parents, you make yourself, you open a channel where your children feel confident to tell you everything. And for the young people, be ready and open for you to allow your parents to come into your life. Sometimes some young people tend to block their parents off so that they can do things they want to do. There are certain actions you will take today that will block your future, that will make you will never become who you want to be. So at all times, for me, what I used to say to myself is, whatever I'm doing at every point in time in my life, how can this help me become who I want to be? As young as 6 years old, I was already clear what I want to be. It might be that maybe not in professional terms, but I knew I wanted to be somebody important in the society. I want to be somebody who contributes. I didn't want to be a burden to anyone. I didn't want to be a nobody. I wanted to be somebody. So from that age, I began to, take account, be accountable to myself and to my to my parents. I discussed everything with my mom, especially, and credit to my mom as well. My mom was so open and so welcoming with anything that you bring to her. Any question you have, any situation you have in school, whatever happens, and my mom knows that whatever I'm telling her is the truth. So you have to be able to always have the habit of saying the truth at all times, especially with your parents, because they are your safety net. If your parents cannot trust you, they cannot protect you. So you have to be very truthful, so that they can gain they can gain your trust and be able to say no. Exactly, like if somebody accuses you outside the home, your parents will be able to say no, this is not my child. They'll be able to stand up for you. So it's important, it's part of that career path. Now, you cannot be doing shoplifting. You cannot be engaging in fight, or doing bad things or lying and stuff, and you think you're going to become somebody in future. That will be difficult for you. You're already closing the paths that will create opportunities for you. So that is very important. Communication, effective communication, and trustworthiness at home with your adults. Now, Leanne, there's a question for you from, says Sips. It says, what advice would you give to a startup business in terms of funding and raising money to support a business?
Okay. So in terms of funding, I know that most of us are in the creative industries, and unfortunately, that seems to be right at the bottom of the list in terms of like government funding and support and things like that, especially with the arts. So I think with me personally, with my own business, I was working full time and I was doing it on the side. So I always had something to supplement my business, and then I took a proportion of that to then fund my own business. I think in terms of funding, it could be a good idea to maybe collaborate with other brands as well, other companies, and they might be able to support you in certain ways. They might be able to help with the promotion of your business. So you're not necessarily putting money in it, but you can come to some kind of agreement with another brand to support you in that way, so you can eventually build a higher profile, and then that would hopefully get you into more funding as well. Like in terms of money, I think also just knowing your worth as well. When you're starting out, sometimes you put your prices way down and you can't then support the business. So really know your worth, set your limits, set your minimum budget, and go for it, and kind of try to explain to people that you're worth paying that little bit more. There's something unique. Find out what's your unique selling point and really stick to your budget, so that you know that you can support it and help it to grow from then on. But hopefully, yeah, if you can, I know that loans aren't always the best way to go, because then you're in debt and you can't necessarily build yourself up from that. So I think with me as well, like Rashida and Stephanie said, networking is a really good idea, because you never know, someone might have a pot of money, another brand might have a pot of money there to support you, and they're just waiting for someone like you to come along, and they're happy to give you a grant or something like that as well. So I think getting yourself out there, getting people to know about you, and people will see the worth in you and hopefully support you financially in that way. But yeah, I think definitely having a secondary income to support your business is the way forward if you want to do it quite independently.
Thank you, Leanne. To add to what you said, for me, I qualified as a nurse and midwife, and I worked for like 6 years before I got married. And then like everyone here has said, my parents wanted me to be a nurse, which never crossed my mind throughout my time in school. And so all the time that I was in nursing, I always wanted to leave. I wanted to, go into media and do my own thing. And I'm more like in the creative mindset and talents that I have. So and I've been, since 2012 when we started our business. So I would say that I've worked with so many creatives. And one thing I always found out is that yes, you talked about funding and money. But what I would tell you as a young person is, make sure you build your portfolio. You have a lot of time now to build your portfolio. As young as from 10 years old, whatever you're good at, you are very lucky now. We have social media, we have the internet. So you can document your progress. You can document, like you can have your blog. You don't need money to have a blog. Or if your parents can afford to get you a personalized website where it is your own website, then you can have a website where all your works, whether if you're a photographer, you're a painter, you're a dancer, content blogger, you're good with fashion, you're a model, put out what you're creating on your internet and keep the progress of it. Like, let your audience know your age, you know, because why I say that is, when people know that they are dealing with a young person, they are kind, they become, a bit kinder, and they're a bit they're a bit more welcoming with you, and they can even begin to give you ideas. People are warm with young people creating and using their time effectively. So it's important that you start now to create little by little what you can do. I don't know who asked that question, but this conference or this summit is for young people from 12, 10 years old, so that they can gradually begin to build portfolio that will lead to a career that they will benefit from. So if you're a parent or an adult and you're in this summit, this will help you to guide your children. It's not for you. We are not talking to adults. We are talking for young people and how they can get out of the rat race, because we have the society have foisted on us this formula of go to primary school, go to secondary school, go to uni, start looking for job. No, the world is no longer like that now. You're no longer going to be waiting to look for job. You can create job for yourself. I have seen children who created job for their parents, who trained their own parents. Now, you have to begin to allow your children to explore, a lot of possibilities with their talents and everything. Like for us, when we were growing up, our parents would be so rigid. Read your book, read your chemistry, read your maths, read your this, and if you're not doing well in those grades, you're discarded. Now, the world needs more of your talent. It's important to read. It's important to go to school. School helps you to build the foundation so that you can express your talent more efficiently. So use your talent. YouTube is there. If you make music, if you make videos, use the YouTube, share what you're doing. If you want to play games, play games that are, that will educate you, that are informative, that trains you. For example, my children, I allow them to play Roblox. When they play Roblox, it teaches them how to buy and sell. They do buying and selling there. They learn, the game teaches them how to save money in their bank, and they monitor how much they have, their income, their outgoings and all that. And also they can, record their videos, edit their videos, and share with other people on YouTube and stuff like that. So what I'm trying to say here is begin as early as possible to begin to build your portfolio in a way that you can share it with the world and the world can find you. Also, you can volunteer, depending on how old you are. You can volunteer your time, you can volunteer your resources, and from volunteering, people can recommend you. People can write recommendations for you. People can share, what you have done with them, and you gain experience as well while you are on the job. So that is what I wanted to add there. I think our time is going. So to round up, I wanted to touch quickly that there are three major things that usually hinder girls and women in succeeding in life. So the three major things are usually sociological factors, which are the society and stereotypes, and this and some of these stereotypes are perpetrated more by parents and the adults in the home. So parents need to begin to let go, let loose, and allow their young girls to be humans, not boys or girls. We need to, as a girl, see yourself as a possibility, somebody who can do anything you want to do. Whatever crosses your mind that you think is good to do, try it out. Then the next one is psychological. As early as 10, 12, 13, girls have started, going into puberty, and they start having body issues and having concerns about parts of their body. So like I said earlier, communication is very important. This is when parents and adults come in. This is time you begin to reinforce what is good about their body. Reinforce and let them know how beautiful they are. And it's okay for you to be smart in education or what you do, and you're also pretty. So sometimes girls confuse this. They think if you're smart, you become a nerd, you're not going to be pretty. You're not going to be attractive. No, both of them can work together. You can be pretty at the same time be smart. So it's good for you to be smart and strong and, active as well. And then the economic part. Oftentimes, families always channel resources towards the boy alone, forgetting the girl and probably pushing the girl. For me, that's partly what happened to me. My mom felt like me going for school of nursing would cost her less, and as a woman, stereotype, that's nursing is the career that is for a woman. For me to go into courses that would be like doing mass communication, and you're coming out from school, you have to look for a job or starting media company. They don't have the resources. Therefore, you have to stay back. Let the boys who can take risk. Now, these things are changing. Life has changed. There's opportunity everywhere. So, girls, you be strong. Show what you can do, and show that you can be resilient. Show that you have the emotional intelligence to be able to carry forth what you want to do, and convince your parents. And parents, if you're here, pay attention as well, so that you can work with your girls and give them the opportunity that they can, use for their own life in future. So just 1 minute for each panelist. So just give a word of conclusion, and then that will be it. So we'll start with Leanne.
Yeah, so kind of similar to what you said, we're all capable of achieving our goals, and there's no reason why you can't, as long as you take reasonable risks. In terms of, when I say risks, I mean even if you feel as though maybe you're not qualified or you don't have the experience, then at least try, and just build your network, build your experience as much as you can, and take your own career into your own hands. Don't necessarily wait for opportunities to come to you. Keep knocking on those doors, and just approach every situation as though it's an opportunity. Yeah.
Am I next?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I would just say that, yeah, piggyback off of what Leanne said, your network is your net worth. Be kind. Don't take moments for granted. Just have yourself always in a way that you would want people to perceive you. Yeah, I think one thing I would say that I've learned myself is not to be afraid to ask for help. So don't be afraid to send that LinkedIn message. Don't be afraid to send that Instagram DM. Don't be afraid to send that email or make that phone call. Rashida said about the world we live in, like everyone wants to help because everyone wants to fulfill a certain need that they have. So yeah.
Yep. Rashida.
Hi. Was excellent. I really enjoy. We should do it once a month. What do you think?
Yeah.
Has to be all the time. Very good what Stephanie and Leanne said. I completely agree. Network is everything. Is who you know, is not what you know, and it's true. So that, and also most importantly, the advice I would give myself if I was 13 and 14 is to not put too much pressure on myself. Believe me, things will work out. In a way, I'm very spiritual, like Stephanie said. It's crazy how things work out for the best. So don't get too stressed. Just go to school, try to get good marks, be nice, be kind. Don't post anything crazy on social media because I will follow you. And don't be scared to ask for help. I love what Stephanie said. It is true. People are here to help you. The people that say no is because they were either busy, didn't see your email, went to the trash. So don't take it personally. Don't take anything personally.
Very wonderful. I like how you said the one you said, don't take that personally, because
Yeah.
sometimes I wanted to also touch a little bit on the issues of racism and stuff that are going on now, especially for young Black girls. Our minds in this part of the world has been so much filled up with the perception that people are going to hate you, or people are not going to be helpful, or people are not going to, give you things that you need because of your skin color. I want every girl that has come to this summit today to clean off that mindset. Once you have that mindset, it's a blocker, is a barrier. It automatically gives you a mindset that will make you behave in a way that you block your own self. You become more defensive. You become more, just take it in, like for me, I didn't grow up here. I like to use this as a reference. I didn't grow up here. Therefore, I don't see racism. When people do what people call racism here, I look at it that, probably the person doesn't like me for whatever reason, which happens. Somebody can see you and not like you. Even people with your own skin color, even people from your own family, even, that is, just see that, okay, maybe this person doesn't like me for now or for whatever reason, and move on. Don't ever think you are less because of your color. Don't ever become defensive of your heritage. You know, if somebody does something, don't take it, except it's something that has to do with your life. That is when you become, I always tell people, especially young people in this part of the world, when you focus on racism, it blocks you, and it creates a kind of what's it called, distraction for you. It's important that you focus and feel happy in your space. Don't let anything, filter into your space in terms of racism and all of what is happening now. See yourself as enough wherever you are, and that you are bringing something to the table. Yeah, Rashida.
Very good point. Actually, I have a very quick story to share. So when I decided to do my LLM, I wanted to do the bar. So for those of you who doesn't know, the bar, because you're quite young, if you want to become a lawyer in this country, you either solicitor or barrister. So when I met my supervisor told me, "Oh, Rashida, don't even dream of the bar. You have a very strong accent. Like he listed everything to stop me from going to that route. Never ever believe them. You will always have a racist guy, a racist woman. Don't listen to them. Don't let their limiting belief impact you, because my mistake was I believed them. Like you can't believe when someone tell you, oh, you can't do this because you're black, or you can't do this. Yes, you can, and you do it with the noise, and you go out there for what you want. Don't listen to them. That's all I want.
Thank you so much. Somebody is raising their hand. Who is that? Who is raising hand? Somebody just raised hand. I can't see who it is. You wanted to say something. Who wants to say something? Raise your hand if you want to say something. If you want to add to what Rashida said. Okay.
I would also like to add that sometimes racism isn't as blatantly overt. Sometimes it can happen in ways that you can't see it. However, I think if you do feel mistreated in whatever space you are, I think it's important to speak up, regardless of the stereotypes, especially of Black women and women of color. I think it's important to call those things out. I think in the last couple of weeks or few weeks, we've seen the impact of calling things out and the changes that they've made in such a short space of time. And I think we're going through a revolutionary moment where no one wants to be quiet anymore, or no one can be quiet anymore. I think when we call things out, there we find commonality between our peers, because someone else may have feared of speaking out on the mistreatment, and then they could be like, well, I went through that too, just because you decided that you wanted to call whatever you went through out as well. So I think it kind of relates to what Leanne said about taking risk. Choosing your battles are really important, but when it comes to racism, sexism, I think we need to all have the kind of inner confidence to believe that whatever is a repercussion of us speaking out on it, it won't leave us in the dark. That eventually we'll be better off, and not that it will be a burden to whatever we're trying to achieve. I think this is better for the generations younger than us, and it's basically changing the world socially, because these things are coming to light more than they have been.
Yeah, very important. What you said to call out racism where you see it. What I was addressing is like some kind of casual racism or microaggressions. Sometimes we focus so much on those things. Yes, they are not little things, but they can distract you. They can filter into your space and stop you from achieving what you want to achieve. For example, when you come into a room and you are the only person in that room, there's a poem by Maya Angelou, where she says something like, when you come in a room, even if it's only you, feel that you have thousands and thousands of your sisters and your ancestors holding you up, coming in with you, coming with your regard, be regaled, be, your royalty and everything. Feel on top of the world. It's only you because you are special. That is the kind of thing I'm talking about. As against when you come in, you start feeling small, you start trying to disappear, you start feeling like everybody's looking at you. When everybody's looking at you, welcome their eyes, celebrate, use your swagger and come in. So that's the area I'm talking about. And then also in offices, you can see people can be, showing you some microaggressions and all that. Find one person. There must be one person who would like you, who is seeing what is happening. Confine in those people and forge along your relationship with those people. I ignore, like just like bullies in school. When you meet bullies, sometimes bullies, what they want you to be is for you to become to be throwing pity party all the time, and so that make you smaller. But when they see that you can actually ignore them, you can actually have quality relationship with other people, and you're vibrant and you're moving ahead without allowing their negativity to get to you, you defeat them. The same thing, like like now, you as Black people, we need to be able to differentiate racism from normal social microaggressions. Like for me, who I didn't grow up here, like you, like Rashida, I have very thick Nigerian accent, which I'm proud of. So I get a lot of microaggressions from my own people, Black people. I've been in an event before where it was a media event. People were talking, and when it was time for me to talk, about 3, 4 ladies, they just stood up. When I started talking, they stood up, looked at me like gave me the eye and left, and walked past, just left, because I don't know why. I continued saying what I was saying. Do you know that it wasn't up to a week, one of those ladies started emailing me. She wanted to feature on my magazine. I reminded her of the day she walked out on me. She didn't, she thought I was nobody. She didn't hear what I was saying. But then at the end of the day, she didn't know that I owned the magazine that she wanted to feature in. So these are some of the things that, you have to wait for them. There will be a point in time when they will need you. Just shine, just continue to shine. Bring out the best you have. One day they will need you, and they have themselves to blame. Yeah. Anyone wants to say something else, and then that's it. Okay. So thank you once more to all our panelists and all our attendees and everyone for making the first summit to be a success. And I thank you all for coming. If you have any question, if you have anything that you want the panel to talk about, or to reach out to you, or you want to reach out to them privately, let us know. I'm glad that we are able to hold this today. And like Rashida said, I'm not going to promise anything yet. We'll get back to you. And if we're going to continue this like once a month, then we will be able to let you know. And Stephanie says her Instagram is Stephanie's Life. Stephanie's Life. I don't know how to put. Okay, I think everybody can see it on the chat section. And then on LinkedIn, she's also Stephanie Okoye. We'll be sending out emails after this to keep you informed of anything that is coming up. If you want to, we have a forum, a Divas of Color forum, membership forum. We have the young people section where, we have the forum also where you can have live chats, like the way it is on Facebook or social media. You can actually have a community chat there with young people alone, and so many other ways you can connect with Divas of Color. Just visit divasofcolor.com and you can see all the opportunities, the events that are coming up and everything, so that you can tap into the resources and opportunities that we continue to create for the community. So once again, thank you so much. My name is Faustina Anyanwu. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Divas of Color, and I love what I do. I love being a Black woman. You can see me rocking my hair. So be confident in who you are and keep bringing on the light. So thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye.